year, but if there's a,
Not
you know, a good
we could
reason.
go to
that-
Tuesday or Wednesday to
Yeah,
get it.
yep, that's a policy, not a. Okay, Mr. Misery.
We could amend this to say the second Monday of November, but not later than November 30.
Okay, fine.
I have no problem with that if it keeps us more honest.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
I wasn't proposing, I wasn't making a motion for amendment. I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah, no,
offering that as a suggestion if you're concerned associated with us not keeping to the date.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm fine with it. I think the intent is there regardless, and, you know, if the board wants to ignore it, they can, you know, if it's a policy, they can ignore it.
It's basically a flag that'll come up every
Yeah.
November saying, look at it. So
The town administrator will put it on the calendar and we'll have to say no.
I think it serves its purpose.
Yeah. I think it's
yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
Okay. Then a motion, please, Mr. Misery?
Madam Chairman, I move to adopt the first reading of Policy 5.8, Water Rate and Water Department Budget.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Vino. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. 4-0. Okay, next on our agenda is number 7, Town-Owned Land Annual Municipal Review. And just in conjunction, what I thought might be efficient in this discussion is we had an item on the goal setting called inventory/usage of town-owned land. That was about looking at the town-owned land, you know, whether we were going to do that in some more detailed, comprehensive way. And I thought maybe we could discuss that goal as part of this rather than wait, because it seems to go together. And just to remind members of the board that that was number 11 on the all-time top 15 goal list, with a score of 55. So, and I can, do you maybe have a copy for
Sure.
Mary Ann? So, because that'll be next on the agenda, that'll help you keep up a little better. So I thought if any of the board members want to talk about that in conjunction with this, that we would move that to this part of the discussion. This is something that comes up every year. For those of us on the board, long or short term, we see this list annually. So, Mr. Younger, maybe you could just back us up a little, and, you know, how proactively are the departments that either express or don't express interest, how proactively are they asked?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, on my goal scoring list, I think I had it much higher. I think I had number 5 on that. And that's probably more because internally I work with it on a day-to-day basis. The review that we've received, generally, as you've seen through the years, you'll have Conservation Commission looking at a number of parcels that they would like to have transferred to their jurisdiction. If the other departments, to a lesser nature, Public Works may have it in there, they'd like to keep a right of way, possible interest for water or sewage should the time come. What I've looked at here is the listing, and I think this is not the end of the review that you see here, is there are 15 parcels to begin with that has no interest whatsoever from any department. And I flag those.
You
They're all-
flag those for
Not
us?
on my list, they're not on your list.
Okay.
And they're all tax title properties that were obtained for lack of payment of taxes. And they're all generally small. I think the max was about 10,000 square feet. And for the most part, they're landlocked parcels by themselves. And those I'd like to look at furthermore and report back to the board what we should do with those parcels, whether there's any interest in selling them if the board wishes or holding on to them. But those definitely, there are no interest by any department as of the state of use for those. Other ones which we'd like to work with, the Housing Partnership has shown interest in a number of parcels. It's questionable whether they're all available or not at this point. I think some of the larger ones we should look at with the Housing Authority and Housing Partnership. They could be possibly used for affordable housing. Parks generally don't have much interest in most of these properties, some smaller ones. think this is something that I would like to take a much more serious look at than we have in the past few years. Because it's our inventory of real property, and I think we should take a really serious look at how we care for it.
Mr. Vino?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Dan, one thing I noticed is in the correspondence, it said for committees that did not respond, we use prior year's responses. Is there a reason we're doing that, or should we do that? Because they may not be interested in it any longer. And I don't know how many cases that involves here.
Now, this is just the beginning, this is just the start that we're getting it out. We are following up with those who haven't responded, but this is just inventory to have in front of you this evening. Should there be changes on it, will be updated.
Yeah, okay, I don't know, maybe I just don't know if they did not respond, I don't know if we should even put them on the initial one, I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, the ones, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
The ones that responded were the major ones. You have CPC, Parks and Rec, DPW, Housing Partnership, and Housing Authority. Those were the major ones. Conservation generally, though they haven't responded, Conservation has responded, sorry.
Conservation.
School hasn't responded, but generally, they don't show any interest in property unless it's a parcel that, you know, is needed for anybody school property. Finance doesn't maintain property, so they just generally don't show an interest. We just contact them for
Yeah.
financial reasons. So the major players have all responded.
Madam Chair. Yeah, I want to be sure you understand what I'm saying. If they do not respond, I don't think we should keep them on the list with their prior requests. Am I clear when I'm asking?
Well, I guess just to follow up on sort of the line that Mr. Vino's going down, what is the difference? I see several N/R, which I assumed meant no response.
Right.
What's the difference, you know, a committee, let's say LUC, who may not have responded, they have some that say no response, some that say yes, some that say no interest. What, are the no responses new ones added on that they've never ever responded to? What's the difference between those?
I'm not certain on that, to be honest with you, because I just looked at NR as being that they didn't respond to it. I can follow up, those could be new properties.
If I may. Under the housing authority, there's a few yeses in here, but then it's mostly no response. And then there's a yes on page 7. And I think in between page 1 and 7, there's 2 no interests. These are all under the housing authority, so I'm just a little confused if all their answers here, the yeses and no interest that we see, are prior year responses, and everything else is, there was no response this year.
Housing Authority did respond this year.
Or does it mean that they didn't express in it, you know, they didn't write
They didn't
no.
say we're not interested, so.
They didn't say no, they just flagged the ones that they were interested in, which may by default mean no interest, but it would be nice.
Could I make a suggestion or a request? Would it be possible, and this might be too much for what it's worth, but to basically see a town map that is somehow colored or flagged that shows who's interested in what and who's not interested in anything, because honestly, to just look at this list, it's kind of difficult to, you know what I mean, to be able to piece it and see how it works, with what's already around it and so forth.
No, we can do that with the GIS system. I started manually just looking at these 15 parcels, flagging those in there. So the GIS system can do it. I don't know how long it'll take to do it, but.
Okay.
I think, I'll get to you in 1 second, Mr. Messeri. You know, that goes to the whole, you know, I had put the inventory usage of town-owned land. That was one of my submitted goals. And when I look at this, you know, I see it year after year. Not much happens in between. We did, you know, appropriate some land at the last town meeting based on a request, right? That was from the Housing Authority? I know I'm gonna say the wrong one. The Housing
Partnership.
Authority. I know.
Oh.
I knew I'd say the wrong one. But I guess I'd like to see this list managed more proactively. in terms of going down, and when you look at the square footage and what's landlocked, and, okay, there's a 3,000 square foot parcel that no one has interest in. Yeah, I think that we should look at that and say, do we want to sell it to the abutters? What do we want to do with it? If someone said yes, if 4 different departments have said yes, they have an interest in a piece of land, well, what do they propose to do with it? And let's go in a direction with it, because 4 departments may say yes, and then it just sits there, and then the next year they say yes, but nothing happens, and maybe it puts a little, for lack of a better word, a little pressure or goal to come up with a plan and do what they want to do with it. And I guess that's what I saw as that goal being, is looking at each, looking at number 1 and say, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses. What are your proposals and where are we gonna go? That's a huge parcel, and it can be used for affordable housing, terrific. If DPW needs it for, sewage treatment, okay, we'll listen to any of those, but, this seems to me to be passive and not a lot happens with it year after year. Welcome, Mr. Owner. We're talking about number 7, Town Hall.
Right along.
Yes, we are.
Did you win?
Well, I'm here.
Did you win?
Did you win?
Oh, good.
We're now the district champions.
Great.
Everyone else just won it all tonight. Now we're moving on to the section and it comes on to Westfield.
Did your left fielder players use hamstrings?
We'll expect a full report under all the cases. Mr. Messeri.
Kevin's suggestion of putting all these properties on a map and coding the map, I think would be very helpful. I can't really see doing a review just looking at a list. I do have a question related to when there's more than one department looking for the property. Are there some guidelines if they've been established as to who gets use, who would you recommend getting use of?
Generally, Mr. Messeri, we have not done that. That's why I'm looking at this generally seriously. You've seen, and I'll look at, say, the second parcel here, map 360, parcel 67, Jill Circle. Show housing partnership, housing authority, conservation, CPC, parks, and DPW. Generally, the board hasn't really, previous boards have not been proactive in discussing whether it should be transferred or not. It's generally been apparently left there. So we haven't had an issue. There's been a few occasions, maybe 1 or 2, where conservation has looked at one of the parcels, general government wanted this remain in general government's domain. But as far as the board making a determination of formally transferring property between conservation and housing partnership, that hasn't occurred.
Do you want to say
I was
something?
clearing my throat. I probably do want to say something.
Mr. Messeri.
I'm going to assume that the mapping system would permit color coding.
Oh, yes.
These, so that we could, in fact, take a look at it and say, okay, there's, I don't know, you put 3 colors or 4 on, maybe some means of identifying which groups are interested. So when we look at the map and say, okay, now we've got a picture of not only where it is, but why a specific group might be interested in that property.
I guess I take it one step further. We need to hear from the group. There may be some where it's obvious from looking at the map why they're interested, but I think we also need to hear, how seriously have they said it, they're interested. Maybe the housing authority has some plan for, a parcel, while the CPC's just said, yeah, because we don't want it to go to someone else, and we might in the future want something. But I guess that going back to this and going to it more proactively is going to take some effort on behalf of the town administrator, on behalf of Kim and mapping, on behalf of the departments who are asked to review and provide more than a yes or a no or a no comment about whether they're interested in a parcel. And again, this is a goal that I thought was important. I put it on my sheet, but it is goal 11 of 15. Do we want